The motion picture screen beckons you to adventure that thrills the emotions with shock and terror. 2 mightiest monsters of all time in the most colossal conflict the screen has ever known. King Kong versus Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Welcome back to Entertainment Rebooted, specifically Cinema Revisited Godzilla. We are watching through all of the classic Godzilla films. Specifically, right now, we're in the Showa era films, 1954 to 1975. This box set, if you are interested, is available on Amazon. And it features almost all of the films from 1954 to 1975 on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
We are not sponsored, but we just like to throw this out if you want to follow along. It's a cool box set with a really impractically large, poster-esque cover.
But so nice, so pretty.
So pretty.
So pretty.
Speaking of pretty things, tonight's film was 1963's King Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus King Kong.
The U.S. one.
The U.S. version. So the box set did not include the original Japanese version. It only had the U.S. version, which has like added additional scenes in English.
Yeah. And
the entire film is dubbed. So if you want just the original Japanese version, I don't know exactly where to find it, but so that just for reference.
There's a few streaming options out there that I think we saw, but
probably Max.
Yeah.
Max seems to have all of them
Yeah.
right now. Anyway, without further ado, Pat, give us a plot summary for King Kong versus Godzilla.
we start off with the UN.
Of all people.
Yeah. Talking about earthquakes in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Which we never go back to.
Yeah, they never really talk about that much until like the climax of the film. Then there's an earthquake.
In Japan, though.
In Japan, yeah. Because the Earth is angry. I don't know.
So then we talk about a discovery in cancer treatment made by a Japanese pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
On Farou Island. Though they can't get more of the berries from there because the natives are using it to appease their god.
A giant like monster god.
Yes, their giant monster god that no one has seen. Then the fishing fleet of Japan is reporting warm currents, which is out of sorts in that area.
Yeah.
Icebergs are breaking up and melting, so the UN sends a nuclear submarine to research it.
Shenanigans ensue.
The Japanese TV company, I kid you not, and the pharmaceutical company are partnered together, and they send 2 TV reporters to Farou Island to capture the monster that is their god.
Because in the iceberg, it's found out that the nuclear submarine literally runs into Godzilla is there and defrosting. So he's now heading towards Japan. So, yeah, sorry.
Oh, you're good. So, Godzilla's heading towards Japan. The newsmen get to Farou Island. They meet the natives.
The natives who are literally brown-faced Japanese people.
This is in 19...
It's 63, but
so
it
is 63, so...
It is a little shocking to see, though.
Very shocking. We're introduced somewhat to their culture. Also, they are all given cigarettes immediately.
Even the children.
Even the children. The one child on the entire island.
Oh, he was sharing with his friends. You know it.
No. There was just the one child.
That's true. They only do show one child. He's the future.
Yeah, he is the future. They're staying there. There's lightning and thunder. They're having a ceremony. A giant octopus attacks their storage of the fruit juice that they give to their god.
As tends to happen.
Yes.
Stupid octopi.
Kong arrives and is angry that the octopus is trying to steal his juice. That's his juice.
His
no one else's.
Hallucinogenic puts him to sleep melatonin juice.
He drives away the octopus. He drinks a bunch of the juice and falls asleep while the natives sing him a lullaby.
Literally. And it's not like a soothing lullaby.
No.
It's like raving drums slamming, like,
and massive horns.
And it's like 6 minutes long.
Yeah. Godzilla is still wreaking havoc on Hiroshima. Starts in Hiroshima.
I don't remember.
Hokkaido.
Hiroto.
Hirto.
Yeah.
Starts in Hirto, is heading towards Japan.
On his way to Tokyo. Ultimately.
On his way to Tokyo.
And he derails like 6 trains.
6 trains. He fights a Japanese army base.
The most cowardly tank division that ever was. They shoot at him for like 3 seconds, and then he just gets like 1 or 2 steps closer, and they're like,
he melts one tank.
Oh, that's true. He melts one tank, and then all of them just literally about face and run back to their bunker.
It was magnificent.
It was gorgeous.
The Japanese government noting that, hey, the Japan TV and this pharmaceutical company is trying to bring King Kong to Japan while we're fighting Godzilla. It's just like, no, don't do that.
We do not need to kaiju.
You send him back to Farou Island or we arrest you. But unfortunately, he wakes up, so they try to blow the raft that he's on. Apparently, the water is shallow enough there that he's actually able to stand up, though.
And dynamite has no effect on the creature.
Yeah.
This movie.
King Kong makes his way to land and instinctually starts hunting for Godzilla.
Knows where he is. Making a beeline.
Yep.
Just like smells him in the air. They don't even explain like how he does it. It's just like King Kong is heading directly to Godzilla, who is here, heading towards Tokyo. And it's like,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
They have their first confrontation, and King Kong drives him away with his atomic breath.
Other way around. Godzilla drives away King Kong.
Yes.
Atomic breath.
Sorry.
No, and it's like a 5-second fight.
Yeah.
They literally just like King Kong shows up, throws 2 boulders at him, and then Godzilla is just like, "That's a cool trick. I can breathe fire." And then Godzilla is just like, "Screw that noise," and walks away.
Just walks away after pats himself down.
And he just, excuse me,
and just walks away. Japan, trying to save Tokyo, erects high-tension electric wires around the city.
Because that clearly stopped Godzilla before.
This time works, apparently. This time, Godzilla does not like electricity.
But King Kong does.
King Kong grows stronger from electricity.
Because that's a thing.
So Godzilla gets to Tokyo, tries to start going in, touches the wire. She's like, shocky shit. No.
The wire bit me.
Bad wire.
Walks away.
So he walks away, but King Kong's just like, electricity. Yum.
Sweet, pure electricity.
Charges into Tokyo and starts nomming on the wires.
Literally charges.
I know. I'm with her.
Tokyo. This movie is not like, just if you haven't gotten the picture yet, this movie is not a very serious film.
No.
It is cheese to the nth degree.
Complete like turn about face from the previous 2.
Completely different.
They knock him out by launching Soma, which is what they named the berries, at him.
Suddenly they named the berries.
They also start playing the lullaby that they recorded.
That they suddenly have recorded. Everything except for the drum part.
Yes. Which one of the TV men starts playing by himself.
Because he remembers it entirely the one time he heard it.
After his sister had been captured by King Kong.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that they were like, we need to put him to sleep.
Yeah.
Before that, they were like, bro, we need to shoot.
They were going to shoot him. Yeah.
Kill him. And it's like, but wait, my sister. Never mind, he just killed a train full of people. It's just like, but my sister. Oh.
Save one. Save one. Sacrifice many, save one. Trolley.
It's a reverse trolley issue. King Kong already decided to kill more people on the track. You can save one person.
King Kong already killed the trolley.
Poor Trolley Tom.
Okay, so then they decide, oh no, then they find out Godzilla's at Mount Fuji.
So of course.
They decide to airdrop King Kong onto Godzilla.
And not in a way that you would really think. They literally inflate a whole bunch of balloons, pick him up with the balloons. So he's literally like this.
Knocked out, just...
Yeah, just held up by balloons and dragged forward by a helicopter. And they just drop him in front of him.
And then they drop him. He slides down on his rear, smashes into Godzilla.
And Godzilla tumbles backwards in like a reverse somersault.
Then King Kong gets up and then just walks up the mountain and like hides and waits in ambush. They fight. Sorry, we both started falling asleep.
Like, it's really sad because it was like there's not a lot of dialogue, there's not a lot of stuff happening, and the way that they're fighting is literally just
it's so quiet, and like it took so long to build up that we're both just
kind of nodding slightly, like fighting sleep. But it's hard to describe this scene like very excitedly. Like the most exciting thing that happens is Godzilla literally like picks up Godzilla and like flips him over. That happened.
I was nodding off.
Yeah, that happened. He picked him up and threw him over his like back. Like it's sad. The most climactic part of the film, like literally because of how long it took. It's like anyway. They fight. Godzilla. King Kong gets tingle fingers.
Yeah, King Kong uses his electrical fingers to tickle fight Godzilla. I kid you not. This happened in the movie.
And then it's like King Kong or Godzilla got sick of it. Like he just got tired of fighting and retreated into the ocean.
And then an earthquake happens. And King Kong falls into the water too. And then he just starts swimming off randomly.
Yeah, like Godzilla's going one way and King Kong's like another way, and they're both being observed by the UN.
Through the International Communications Satellite.
Which is heavily featured in this film.
So many times. It looks like a spaceship.
It looks like a spaceship, and it doesn't help the fact that literally, like, either the thing that they're using to make it spin, like the wire or something, has like a little triangle on it.
Yeah.
So it always looks like there's like a little itty bitty spaceship moving towards this.
It. Yeah.
This like top in space.
It's campy.
Oh, it's campy. Is like I said, cheese to the nth degree.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the iconic, because that is the film. Like it's something. Good, bad, ugly, iconic. Pat, what is the good thing about this film that's not like the reason you would watch the movie, but is like you think it's worth noting?
It is the first. Actually, no, it's not. It's the second time Godzilla has fought
a giant monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a giant kaiju.
Yeah. Because he does it in Raids Again. Forgot about it. It's so short in that, though.
Well, because it climaxed so fast in the first. Like, remember, we had that issue where it had the valley.
Yeah.
Where it had two climaxes.
They do a better job in this one of drawing out the fight longer, I would say.
That's fair, and also the fights do last longer. They're more.
Yeah.
They're also more intense.
More intense fights, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an involved version of the kaiju fight.
Yeah. I think that's probably partly because they're both upright.
Yeah.
In the second one, the kaiju that Godzilla fights is on all fours.
Yeah.
So it's harder to get a guy in a suit to fight believably.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I mean, that is good. Like the fights are good.
If you're awake.
If you're awake, I'm sure that they're amazing. If you're awake, I feel so bad. Like, and it's not like I don't think I like fell asleep for very long.
Yeah, it's just
there were a couple times, man, where I'm just like,
yeah, it's a 2-hour film, but it just feels like it's 4 hours film.
It drags. Like that is like moving into the bad. We could move into the bad because I agree that is good. Yeah. That's like the only real memorable thing, honestly, is like we could talk about the modeling. The modeling's always relatively.
The modeling's just always good.
Yeah, it's always relatively solid.
Decent, yeah.
It is a little bit more like visible because it's in color.
Yeah.
So, and they use so many of the modeling, so it's like it's a good thing. Like it's good to note.
Yeah.
But it is starting to look bad. It's starting to get to the point where it just kind of looks kind of bad.
Yeah.
But it's still impressive. Like the amount of detail and everything that they put into it is really well done. So I would say that that's probably the good is like visual effects aren't really bad.
Yeah,
like,
no, they've always
always
like held their visual effects.
Yeah.
Like they actually like commit to them, so that's good.
Yeah. But bad, we started talking about like the pace. It's not even like pacing, it's just like it's a very dry movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot more dry than previous Godzilla movies. Even the human characters are not as interesting as before. They show up a little bit, but they're not really like you invest much time with them. I think what happened is since this is the US version, they cut out most of the people aspects of it to replace the human scenes with the UN and the news people.
Yeah, which is just a very weird like addition to it, truthfully.
I mean, it works a little bit. But at the same time, it's like we have these characters and they have these big emotional moments, but then we're like, we've spent like 5 minutes with these people.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember their names because they don't really show up in the film that much.
I actually don't know any of their names, yeah.
Yeah, like they all have names and they talk to each other a couple of times, but...
Yeah, and like I hardly remember that it was his sister.
Oh yeah, and that's introduced early in the film where it's like the boyfriend and the sister, but like I hate to say it, they spend so little time with her having that dynamic that it gets kind of hard to remember which one is which.
Yeah.
Like I hate to say it, it's just they don't spend a lot of time with these characters developing that relationship to really solidify it.
Yeah.
So I would just say it's very dry and long. So by the time you get to the final fight is great.
Yeah.
You're just so burnt out though by the end of it that you're just like, oh, finally they're fighting.
Yeah.
Because every scene leading up to it has been so long, it's been drawn out.
Yeah, it's just here's a obstacle, let's find a solution, obstacle, solution.
Here's the tribe. Let's spend 30 minutes of the film with this tribe.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time there.
And like I said, that lullaby scene's like 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's just 6 minutes of them dancing
and
chanting and drumming. But the song's not easy to follow. It's not an emotional song.
No.
And it's just the same things over and over and over again. But also they keep cutting to this tribe, and the tribe is like stoic faced.
Yeah, just
doing that, and they're all choreographed, and it's just like,
or like they cut to like the drums being hit. It's There's some odd cut choices.
Yeah, there's just so many odd choices with the film, and then it drags. And some of the more interesting characters they only spend a little bit of time with, like the eccentric TV producer owner guy.
Yeah,
he's interesting, but we only get probably
Like-
3 scenes with him.
yeah, just about.
Yeah. Then they have the general, and he only shows up a few times.
Yeah.
And they come up with these strategies, and they spend so much time talking about, like, the UN parts take so much
Yeah.
time where they're talking about all the stuff that's happening, and they literally kind of like recap what just happened,
Yeah,
and then
it's-
get into roughly what's happening now, and then
Yeah, like there's a lot. Like most of the UN scenes are like shooting to the UN and then just going right back to Tokyo. Just like, here's everything that just happened, and now we're going to talk to Tokyo, and here's everything that they just told us. Then we're going to talk to them.
yeah, and then they have the guy
cure-
who's an expert, but literally the first scene that he's in is the most believable part of it, is the first scene that he's in, because he literally is like, oh, we kind of think that he might be a T-Rex mixed with a Stegosaurus because he has plates on his back and he looks kind of like a T-Rex. And we can't really determine anything else about it, determining weaknesses and what would actually destroy the creature, because I don't have any of that data.
Yeah,
And then literally the next scene, though, he shows up and he's just like, this is what you got to do to fight this guy.
yes, we believe that Godzilla does not like electricity. We
Why?
also hear that King Kong grows stronger with electricity.
How? Like this dude who literally the first scene shows up. I thought he was going to just show up,
Yeah,
and then they were going to have like a little cut scene where they come back and they're just like, why did we bring this guy in as an expert? And the dude's just like, I became a paleontologist
He's
to
the
study extinct things.
he's the curator of the Natural History Museum in New York.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
Oh.
just a curator.
Yeah,
It's not like he's the Godzilla expert.
no, like, and then he's talking about the brain size of Godzilla versus the brain size of King Kong.
And how that's actually going to cause King Kong to be able to fight Godzilla better, even though it's just like, sure, Godzilla's got tiny lizard brain, but he also has a little thing. It's atomic breath
Yeah, and razor sharp claws.
and teeth and a tail. And not only that, he beats the crap out of King Kong with his tail in the second fight.
Multiple times, just whap, whap, whap.
It's like, yeah, he has this little itty bitty lizard brain, but King Kong can't figure it out with his 10 times larger than a normal monkey brain.
At least 10 times.
At least.
Because he just holds up the monkey's skull. Yeah, and his cranium is at least 10 times the size.
Yeah. No, and then he picks up a marble. Because it's like,
For Godzilla's brain.
yeah, for Godzilla's brain. He's like, this is roughly the size of a lizard brain, and this is the size of an ape brain. But then it's just like, if you actually look at Godzilla, though, you're like, he doesn't have a normal lizard head.
No.
His head's like actually really,
Yeah, it's...
you know, like you can kind of see it, like with the little model here. Like that's his nose right here, right there. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, it's like his head always has this kind of like big overarching cranium.
Yeah, it's like...
So it's not like a normal lizard. It's not just this flat. Straight
Yeah,
to
there's
his
definitely
back.
been, like, cranial development.
Yeah. But we're not experts, nor are we curators of museums. So clearly, we cannot, in the
Right,
course of
right,
2
sorry.
scenes, become experts in Godzilla.
Sorry about this.
We
This
apologize.
is all speculation.
Absolutely. Don't quote us on it. If you want to fight a Godzilla monster, don't call us. Although we
mean,
will take your money.
Yeah, you could...
show up on-
You could call us.
You could call
we
us.
might not help.
We probably will be more help to the UN than the UN.
Yes.
That's not hard to do, though. Anyway. Ugly. Like, so bad's like the dryness of the film. What's
Yeah.
actually like ugly about it? I wouldn't say that like the dryness is ugly.
I mean,
It's close, but
it's close, but yeah, it's not the ugly. You definitely... They just kind of... They kind of go against established lore.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff in it that's kind of against established lore. Like, he is a radioactive, like, atomic monster that's created from nuclear tests, and the entire time they're talking, it's like we're trying to fight him in conventional ways so that we don't have to drop an atomic bomb. Because if we drop an atomic bomb, it will destroy him, but all of Tokyo as well.
Yeah.
So it's like they kind of abandon that, and then they're also like, he's afraid of electricity, but literally the last two films, the dude just walks through whatever he wants to. He's just a force of nature destruction thing.
The very first film, they try to build a massive electrical fence.
He looks at it once and walks through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he like just atomic breaths the other towers.
And he never tries to do that in this one. Like, literally, that scene, I actually pointed out. Like, it's like, oh, wow, a spicy bite wire. It'd be a shame if I melted this and walked around it.
Yeah.
Because he literally did it before. Yeah. They do abandon a lot of this stuff. And also, King Kong has his own little, like, his own lores as well. Like, the first King Kong movie came out in, what, 34?
That I'm not sure of.
32? It's an older film. It might even be before the 30s. It might be the 20s. Was it a silent film? Was the first one silent?
These are questions we do not know the answers to.
Perhaps that's another series for another time.
If you know them, tell us.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below about King Kong's first movie. But I'm pretty sure that the lore is kind of the same as it's been in the last couple of ones, where he's from Skull Island.
Yeah.
And so it's not even the right island.
Right.
But he's from Skull Island. He's just a giant ape. He's like the eighth wonder of the world because he's a giant ape.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing of like he has super abilities outside of the fact he's just huge.
Yeah, it's not like he drinks special berries that make him high and then fall asleep that make him grow larger.
Yeah, it makes him grow large. And that's the other thing too. It's just like he falls asleep to grow larger so that he can fight Godzilla and be larger than mountains. And then it's like he absorbs electricity.
Yeah.
I have only seen like two of the King Kong movies, like the 2005 one, and that was forever ago when I saw that. And then Kong Skull Island, but he never has anything to do with electricity in either of those films. So it's like they added like these super abilities to be like, oh yeah, he can fight this atomic lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that is kind of ugly where they just kind of abandon everything for the sake of making a movie happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd also say like what else is like actually ugly?
Kind of the cut-in parts from that were added for the US version.
Yeah, that's fair, and the dubbing is awful.
I mean, dubbing's never great in this time period, really.
Well, it's never great in live action because it's impossible to.
Yeah.
Anime's one thing to dub because you can literally change the mouth animation to make it more believable. And it's all voice acting, so you have professional voice actors that are specifically they specifically do anime. In this one though, it's clearly like they're American actors who are just kind of like watching the film, and sometimes their emotions don't quite match the scene. It doesn't match the cadence.
Yeah.
And it is just kind of one of those things where I agree. Like all the UN cuts are also kind of ugly about it. It's just I think that the film would have been more interesting if it was just the Japanese version.
Yeah. Because
the last two haven't been awful.
No, they've not.
And Godzilla -1 is all dubbed too, and that's a great film. So it's not like American audiences can't appreciate a subtitled movie, but I understand their hesitancy for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the last two weren't dubbed. Well, the first one was actually. We don't have that copy, but the first one was technically dubbed. It released in the U.S. Anyway, we've gone on long enough, I think, about the uglies of this. How about iconic? What's the thing that if a friend of yours was looking to watch this movie that you would immediately be like, this is why you watch this movie? This is the iconic thing about the movie.
You know, it's probably going to be the part that I fall asleep to. The King Kong toss.
It's pretty iconic, yeah, where he literally picks him up and flips him over.
Yeah.
That's an iconic scene. So, I mean, it's fair. Like, their fight is iconic. Like, it is King Kong and Godzilla fighting each other.
Yeah, it's not the made up one that they had for Raids Again.
Yeah, it's not this like random beast. And then the other thing too is that they fight multiple times, and
Yeah.
it is literally them fighting.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It's not a rehash.
No, it's not.
It's also not a rehash. And the other thing too is like the iconic part could be, it is campy as.
Oh, so campy.
It is so campy and it is so cheesy, but
yeah,
it's fun. Like
it's fun.
A fun movie. It's just one of those things where like it could be more entertaining.
Yeah.
It could be better, and it could be better written out and stuff like that. But it is one of those things where it is so different than the first two.
Yeah.
But it also is like part of the iconic is that it is so different. It's just it's a different genre almost entirely.
Yeah, it really does. Like it gets closer to comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Almost.
Well, and it has comedic characters in it who I assume feature heavier in the Japanese version. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
like
pretty sure the TV guy probably is in it a lot.
Yeah.
And he was like the most interesting one. Like he
Yeah.
was probably the most interesting side character.
Yeah. My Godzilla.
Yeah.
I mean,
my King Kong.
My King Kong. No.
And then they're just like, you need to turn around right now. He's like, but that's my King Kong. It's just like, you're going to claim this thing that you're literally, your whole plan with King Kong is like, let's release him so he can fight Godzilla.
No, his plan wasn't to have him fight Godzilla. He just
advertising.
He just wanted King Kong for advertising. He wanted to have movie deals, TV deals, advertisement deals.
While Godzilla is destroying everything.
Yeah, no, he just wanted to have King Kong for advertisement. He wanted the publicity of having King Kong.
Like a typical movie, TV show executive would. Giant destructive monster. Sounds like we need him in a movie deal.
Yep.
And we need to insist on continuing to make the film even if people don't want it, and the giant monster is grooming children and assaulting random people on the streets of Hawaii. What?
But we digress.
Anyway, yeah, so that's the good, the bad, the ugly, the iconic. What are some things if, let's say, Toho and Universal International came up to you and they're like, hey, we're thinking about making a movie of Godzilla and King Kong. What are some things that you would do to release it for a modern audience? Like, I understand that we do have a Godzilla versus Kong that just recently released.
Yeah.
But what are some things like you would do with this one? You haven't seen Godzilla versus Kong. So.
Nope, I have not.
So, relatively fresh perspective, what would you do for modern audiences with this?
I would actually start with the introduction of King Kong first.
Okay.
You got King Kong coming in, kind of closer to when he's first brought to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have him escape from Japan, like escape from captivity in Japan.
Okay.
Before Godzilla reappears.
So he's just kind of like wreaking havoc in Tokyo, and then on top of that, Godzilla shows up.
Yeah.
Like just kind of like stacks on top of things. It's like, this can't get any worse. Lightning, rain.
Yeah.
Well, at least Godzilla isn't here. There he is.
Yeah.
In the background. Okay, that could be interesting.
Yeah, more of like a... Like, he's been, like, subtle, but then, like, King Kong, who is kind of like a natural enemy, like, shows up again.
Okay.
So, like, he's drawn in.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Alpha Predator shows up, and he's just like, no, this is my island.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That could work. Okay. So it's just kind of a thing of, like, because the Japanese people bring King Kong into this new environment, the ecosystem's kind of thrown off, so Godzilla feels threatened.
Yeah.
So he reemerges, kind of like Raids Again, where this other creature showed up.
Kind of like Raids Again.
Yeah.
Kind of like the one where he's chasing the egg the entire time.
Oh, with the rewrite we did for Curb Stomp with Iguanazilla.
Yeah, Iguanazilla.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, like that could make sense. Yeah.
Like, cause it's kind of been established. Like, Godzilla claims Tokyo as his territory.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, Raids Again does establish that, where
Yeah.
this other creature shows up and he goes out of his way to fight it multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, like, they're all trying to like drive King Kong out and get him recontained, and that's when Godzilla shows up. And then they're like, "Oh no, there goes Tokyo."
Go Godzilla.
Yes. And at that point, they're like, "We must use Kong."
Let them fight.
Yes. Otherwise, just a bit more development of the character, like maybe allow us to get more emotionally attached to them, like actually care.
Mm-hmm.
Not take it as like international. Like, I get the UN sending forces in to help, but like not going to New York.
Well,
So like,
yeah, like not constantly being like, and here's our experts in New York, because
yeah,
they're more well equipped than the ones in Japan that have dealt with this creature multiple times.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that I agree. I would move away from the UN and try to make it more of an American movie where it's like, we're watching this news report
yeah,
kind of thing. Like, news report film in and of itself is kind of bland,
yeah.
I think. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Cool.
Yeah.
Personally, like, what would I do? I like your premise where it's, you know, the Japanese, like, for tourism.
Yeah.
Like, they do a thing for, like, tourism with the TV people, and they're just
Yeah.
like, maybe it's not a good idea to bring Godzilla in, or not Godzilla, King Kong in, because we literally just had to deal with Godzilla.
Yeah.
The city's still kind of recovering.
Yeah.
Why are you bringing this giant monster beast thing in? And the TV person is like, we're doing it for the publicity and for the advertising, but also the science. We've discovered that there's so many of these giant creatures around.
Yeah.
And so we got an ape, and the ape seems relatively docile on its island.
Yeah.
So we brought it here because it's more easily observable. So we can do the science, we can sell it.
Yeah.
Like, we can sell its blood, whatever it is. We can look into the medicinal properties of
Yes.
this giant creature.
Not the money.
Medicinal properties of money. But yeah, like they bring in King Kong, and then I agree with you again. Like, why not have him escape and wreak havoc on Tokyo a little bit?
Yeah.
He's not as nearly destructive as Godzilla because he's King Kong.
It's more just like his destruction is the physical kind. It's what he can reach or what he can throw.
Exactly, and he's more interested in like climbing and being free and stuff.
Yeah.
So have that kind of similar thing where he's escaped like he did in New York, but it's in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And when he escapes, it's because on the island they realize that the tribe that they took him from actually knows how to kind of calm him down a little bit, and they didn't really pay attention to that. They were just like, oh, giant ape, and these tribal people kind of seem to know where he's at.
Yeah.
We'll use them to capture him.
Yeah.
And then the tribe's like pissed, obviously, not just because it's like the god, but it's like he's kind of like our protector.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be here. He's kind of left, like, if he's here, everything leaves us alone.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So they have that where he's goes off and he's doing his thing, and it's causing havoc. And we notice that, like, there's maybe news reports or something like that coming out that out in the Arctic or wherever we left Godzilla last, because he was out. He got buried in snow and ice.
Yeah.
In the last one, so
Yeah.
it makes sense that he would be on this like makeshift iceberg. Maybe they observe that the iceberg is starting to kind of melt, or there's some activity going on.
Yeah.
And they're like, why is there like this weird activity going on with Godzilla? And then they head back to the island where Kong is, because they're like, okay, how do we deal with Kong to get him more docile again?
Yeah.
where, you know, he's not going to attack people. And the tribe is literally like, they get there and the tribe is being swarmed by multiple giant octopi.
Or like just like or a giant octopus, or like just any giant creature.
Yeah, like it's multiple giant creatures have shown up though.
Yeah.
On the island, and so as a result, the village is relatively devastated. They don't know if they've actually gotten there in time to like get any of the secrets to be like, how do you make the creatures docile? In fact, maybe the entire village is entirely destroyed. Maybe they're all dead.
Yeah.
And as a result, they're looking at this stuff and they're like, these creatures aren't like native to this area kind of thing. Like maybe it's an octopi, but it's also like a giant narwhal. No, I want something that actually can be on ground.
Yeah, narwhal wouldn't get.
But
or like a bird.
Maybe a pelican.
Like a pelican.
Giant pelican.
Pelicans are mean.
Pelicans are mean, but
and they do that weird thing to like clear their throat where they like reverse their entire throat.
But anyway, like have multiple large creatures, but they're kind of pointing out and they're like, these things aren't usually in these areas.
Yeah.
Like it's odd that like, first of all, it's odd that there's giant creatures, but
yeah.
It's even more odd because octopi makes sense.
Yeah.
There's octopi in the ocean. That makes sense. That thing that's attacking the octopus, whatever it may be, pelican, it could even be just something that nobody's ever really seen before.
Giant hummingbird.
That could be cool. Giant hummingbird.
That'd be terrifying, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it'd be cool. It'd be terrifying, though.
Terrifyingly cool.
But anyway, it's like something else is attacking them. They're like, that's not normal in this area at all.
Yeah.
Why is there so much movement? And then, like, as they're, like, going about, there's just so much movement going around. And it's literally because they disturbed the ecosystem enough that all of the other creatures are like, yeah, we're going to go do our own thing because clearly Kong left on his own volition or something like that. And so it's completely just reversed everything. And as a result, they've pulled Godzilla closer into warmer waters or something. And so the iceberg's melting. And then he's like, okay, something's up with Tokyo. And he shows back up at Tokyo and sees Godzilla. And it's just like, oh, hell no. And they fight.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Like where it's literally the consequences of not properly respecting nature, but also not having an appropriate view of conservation.
Yeah.
Like that would be the messaging. It would just be like conservation is extremely important and captivity, like taking subjects into captivity isn't always great.
Yeah.
And you should never do it for the wrong reason.
Correct.
Godzilla doesn't belong, or King Kong doesn't belong in Japan. He belongs like in a completely different area of the world.
Yeah.
It's not good for him to be in this climate.
Yeah.
So kind of that would be the messaging is it's just like, yes, nature is amazing and we should study it and we should learn about it. But let's learn about it properly with the proper conservation.
Yeah.
Proper conservation.
Yeah.
So that would be like my messaging.
Yes, message.
Anyway, what did you guys think about our ideas, our kind of reworks, also just the review aspects of it in general? What did you think about King Kong versus Godzilla 1963? Let us know that in the comments. If you like this video, please be sure to like it. Otherwise, if you haven't already, consider subscribing. We talk about old movies, bad movies, new movies, movies in general. That's just kind of what we do here. So if you like movies like we do, you'll like this channel. Also, be sure to share us with your friends. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us. And otherwise, unless Pat, you got any closing thoughts?
Godzilla.
We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.